Welcome, Joanna. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Buenos días a todos. Gracias por haberme aquí, por invitarme. Yo voy
Thank
a
you.
estar a hablar español, no español, inglés, porque mi español no es suficiente.
It's
Pero
perfect.
bueno,
So the stage is all yours. Good luck. Bye bye.
thank you. So welcome again. My name is Joanna Krombholz-Zabielska. I am indeed the head of service design for Santander Bank Poland. Um, And before I jump into sharing with you our story about how we navigated through the early COVID time, and how we've set up the think tank that helped us give recommendations to the business what to do in these new circumstances and what we've learned in the process, I would like just to slightly share with you a little bit of the context. Um, probably many of you know Santander Bank because we have a subsidiary in Chile. But Santander Bank in Poland is maybe quite a different organization because it's a 30-year-old Polish bank that has been bought 10 years ago by Santander Group. And we are one of the three top biggest banks in Poland. And we are a product of five mergers. That makes our situation pretty complex. The last merger happened in 2018, and it was doubled with the rebranding from the Polish name to Santander. And aside to all this, I would like you to imagine an organization that has over 11,000 employees. We are operating, half of our staff is operating from the branches, around 700 branches. The headquarters is located in three cities. We have 5 million customers to whom we are offering and servicing over 800 products. And they are being taken care of by 19 tribes, agile tribes, that are part of a result of our transformation into agile way of working. But it's not the whole bank. The part of the bank is still a waterfall organization. And adding to all this, we are for the last 2 years, we've been we've put a strong aim for us to become not only one of the three biggest banks, but also to become one of the three top satisfaction institutions in terms of the satisfaction of our customers. Mm, so to reach this goal, and we are not there yet, to reach this goal, 2 years ago, a transformation office has been set up, customer excellence office, a customer excellence center, it's called, to run all the initiatives, the whole big program of making the bank really, truly customer-centric organization. And as part of this, I joined the bank in January last year. And I formed a team of service designers to help embed service design skills or design thinking skills and capabilities in two dimensions. First of all, we apply service design thinking to solving key problems of our customers to help put much better products for our customers. But also, we are scaling design. We are responsible for the part of the transformation that has to do with transforming the way of working. And now the beginning of the year started for us, as probably for many of you, with the moment, with the time where basically all our plans had to be put on hold or at least changed. What this picture, what this photo shows, it's a fire in Santa Rosa, California, where my brother lives. And as many of you may know, in 2017, also this year, there has been strong fires. Luckily, my brother wasn't. My brother's house was never touched by the fire. But I'm showing this to refer to the early months of this year, just to recall this situation. I would like you also to try to remember how we all felt that we heard about the COVID, we heard about the epidemic, that it was coming to us. It was somewhere else, maybe in China, maybe in Italy. We could smell it also, like we smell fires, although it was not yet so close to us. So we thought something would happen, but we couldn't really realize how it's going to look, how much it's going to hit us. And somewhere in, not really somewhere, but 11th of March was a memorable day for us in Poland, when on Wednesday afternoon, the government declared or ordered a lockdown of our country. And from one day to another, we had to change the whole reality of how we operated, how we lived as people. I have 3 kids, and I bet many of you have gone through similar challenges of having all kids at home with something called remote schooling, but it's not really remote schooling. But moreover, people who we used to work with hand in hand, they were immediately sent home, and we couldn't really, we had to find new ways of working. The government also closed restaurants, fitness centers, beauty centers, put restrictions on communication, so on and so on. I believe you have been going through the same things. And all this made us change plans. We had to apply it to our what we were producing, what we were working on. We had to put new products. For example, the credit payment holiday processes. We had to digitalize in few weeks' time many processes that were core to our customers, but we were not ready with this. And we could go on like this. There were so many things happening, and people sitting at home, not used to working like this, not really seeing too much besides what they were seeing around them. So really, when the fire is coming, it's not maybe yet in your house, hopefully. There's also a smoke, and the smoke in this metaphor, the smoke in the situation of a pandemic was really blurring our eyes in terms of the information and in terms of how we could understand the situation, what was really going on. I mean, we all felt we had to do something, but not always we knew what to do. We couldn't really understand at that point, somewhere in March, what's happening to our customers. We saw some things, but how do people change what they've been doing? How are their needs changing? What our customers will need? All these questions we had, and all the we are seeking for information, and then the information started to inflow, and somewhere March and April, what really happened was a huge inflow of many reports sent to us by our partner research agencies. We had many webinars that were organized in order to share information. How are the customer trends looking, what the customers are doing, how behaviors change, and so on and so on. And I remember a week where I was getting the same report 5 or 7 times from different people in the organization, that was caused by the fact that we didn't have the organization ready to aggregate, consume, synthesize data, and organize the information flow and information sharing. We were invited to many webinars, but there were so many of them that it was impossible to go there, be there, listen, and yet have all of other meetings. I believe it's pretty typical, and it happened in many organizations, that what really happened in this moment was not only that we had to deal with the reality, but the reality of fighting COVID, but we were also fighting this overload of information and our fear, in a way, to to miss something relevant for our business. And this situation was had its meaning, had its name. I found a quote from Director General of the World Health Organization, and he said somewhere in February that we were not only fighting the pandemic, the epidemic, but also an infodemic. To much extent, he was meaning probably the mess and the unknown of the epidemic, of the health issues. But in our reality, it also meant a lot of uncertainty about how we can interpret the situation. And many times we really felt like these guys in the picture, that you hear so many things, you cannot process it, and all you think is, just to run away, to shut your ears. But we are service designers, so we are meant to solve problems and not to escape from the wicked problems. So here, this really the story of how the idea of the think tank happened and how it helped us in this moment. So one day in somewhere in April, I was sitting with my service designer, with Magda Sagan. You can see her in the red frame, and we were talking about how we can cope with this overload of information. And then I thought that we have fixed it. And the idea we came across was to set up an internal think tank, a cross-bank team that would be able to aggregate, synthesize information, and bring recommendations to the business. And that's what we really did, very informally at that point of time. This was somewhere in April. Magda came up with a great name for the think tank. It's called Insights. And the very important thing, I think, that helped us to make it a success after all, was that we have gathered together people from all different parts of the organization, from innovation, from tribes, from our CRM team, from marketing, from PR, and every one of us. We had sources to different information. We have different perspectives, and using that and different and complex types of skills, perspectives, and access to data really helped us to generate great output. So what we really did, first of all, we were capturing all the information that we believed was significant for our business. We had gone through over 30 reports, attended many seminars, webinars, and gathered a lot of the internal data that we started to process in some under some focus that was relevant for us. And then from the insights, we wanted to go to recommendations for whatever was relevant to our business in the situation that we were in. And we've set up for sort of a goal for the team that we have to work on the recommendations not only for that moment, for now in April, but also for the sort of new normal that we believed was coming, and for the future which is still ahead. And on the very beginning, what we did, right, I think it was 4 days after setting this team up, the first presentation we did was at the bi-weekly customer experience forum that we held in Santander. And we shared the story about how we as people react to a shock, and COVID was a shock, and the lockdown was a shock for all of us. And we have to paint a story of how we can go through this, how we can, what's going to happen next. It was a story about adapting to this new situation, and then to set the thinking of our partners in business to the future of the new normal and the future. So how did it really work? As I've said, we were gathering reports. Then we were from the reports, from the analysis that the team has done, we had defined outputs in the way of opportunities for business. And it was not only the report that we had produced, but moreover, it was a story that we had given the business in the webinar, internal webinar for 100 to 200 people in our bank. And it was a very important part because it's difficult for people to go through data and through information that they don't know how to interpret. And the webinars helped us to translate it to the people. And on the right, you can see that we had been producing the daily and weekly reports, and it was taken over by the team in the Customer Excellence Center. And the alerts we call the big reports that we were producing or preparing for the business every 2 or 3 weeks. And from that alert reports, we were planning to go with the service design processes to design solutions that were relevant in the new era and in the new defined opportunities. And that was basically our prototype version. So just to show you that it changes, for a few months we were producing the daily reports, but then we decided to give it up. It was too difficult, too hard to prepare. We are keeping still our weekly reports, and they are showing the competition monitoring and some summary of the changing trends in communication mainly. And the alerts are also the report that we keep, but we are changing the way, and I will tell about this in a minute. And throughout the first 3 months or 2.5 months of COVID, we had produced we prepared 4 reports for different types of customers, because it basically reflects also the scope of our activities in the bank. So individual customers, SME customers, internal employees, and also we talked about the trends ahead of us. And just to show you or tell you how it worked in reality, I would like to talk a little bit more about the signals of change for individual customers. So how did it work? From all the reports that we had gone through, we were able to define 16 signals of change, as we call it. And they were ranging from things like people are exercising more at home, let's say, to stuff like the habits of clearing transactions between people are different. They are happening in circles of friends, families, relatives. So they had different range and different relation to our business. So from all these signals of change, we had defined 8 opportunities that were already quite relevant to the banking and financial services. But then a question arose: how we make it work with the business? How do we make sure that the business can take the recommendations and start working on them, start addressing and solving them? So that was the moment when we started to work with our partners from the customer relationship management tribe, CRM tribe, as they are the ones who are managing our current customer base. They take care of the communication, and they also lead and initiate product or projects that are supposed to help our customers. So we've paired with them, and what we did first was to calculate the potential of their recommendations that we had been given, and based on this based on this calculated potential, that was taking under consideration both three aspects: the NPS impact, the money or the business effects, and of course the COVID-19 relevance. From the 8 opportunities, we went down to 5 business opportunities. And so, how it went further. We started working with, as I've said, with CRM Tribe, but then we had to get impact on our customers. Sorry, I have kids at home and my kids are interrupting me to say that it's going right. So, okay, what we did first. Remember when I told you when I said that for working with the recommendations, we wanted to set up 3 time frames, we can say. So we knew that if we want to do something now, we could only deal with what we communicate to people. You know, a bank is not really, is far from being a quick and agile organization when you think of idea, solution, launch. It takes us months. So to do something quick, we can basically quickly communicate something. So what we did is we took these opportunities defined earlier. We thought what our current products and services and value proposition that we have, how it corresponds to these opportunities, and how we can synchronize our communication so that we can use what we have to better communicate with people. And you know, there is this report from Visa that says I'm not quite sure if it was 70 or 80% of people that the report says that people don't really know, customers of the bank, but 70% of them doesn't really know what functionalities in full does their current bank has. So the communication helped us show to the customers what we really have and what can help them immediately. And just to give you a better example, we've took under consideration what we know about changing habits of people, how COVID affected, for example, holiday planning. And we have a tool that we call Life Map, and map of important events of humans. And we had updated this with what we know the COVID has changed. And this helped us change the planned communication. In the beginning of the year, what we would usually plan for is to promote, for example, money exchange or credit card usage, car rental to the customers, because a lot of Polish people live abroad, and it was no longer relevant. In COVID times, people had to stay in Poland, majority. The habits or the plans changed, and instead we had to give them options for more cashless transactions, or different options. How can they deal with the cancellations through booking, or let them know what services they can use, and for example, how to ensure against also COVID, or fact that people could lose jobs. So we basically changed the communication first. But then we had planned for using the opportunities that we have defined for the future products, for the future value propositions. And from in the scope of these 5 opportunities, we had defined, we have defined over 20 projects at first, but then went down to 14 so-called top quality initiatives that were referring to these opportunities, but also solving some earlier defined business needs. And we've started design processes. And one of these processes, just to tell you about, was about digitalization of seniors. We realized that 1/3 from the data, of course, that we have, we realized that more or less 1/3 of our customer database is seniors or people over 55 years old, and almost half of them are not digitalized. So half of them, around 1 million customers, are using our branches and not using any other tool for banking, which in the lockdown time was just something we had to deal with. And we've started project to solve this problem and to address the challenge of how can we, as a bank, help our senior customers start banking digitally, even if they hadn't before. And this project has been piloted just in last month, and we have very good results. Although few hypotheses we had killed with the test, so the tests work. And we are planning to launch the whole new process in the first quarter of the year. And for the future, what we are basically doing is we are working within our planning frame, and we as the Customer Excellence Center are using the insights opportunities to fill in the quarterly business review process, which is a planning process for the tribes, and give them direction where they should go and what problems, what opportunities they should address in future. So what have we really learned in this throughout this few months? First of all, there are tactical things, and what we've learned is that in the situation of a shock, of such a dynamic situation, you have to act fast. And once we set up the team, this cross-bank team, we said, okay, let's give the answers as soon as possible and not take care so much of the presentation, for example, the way it looked. So it was more important to give a story and to give solution than to, spend time on how it looks. So done is definitely better than perfect. Then the fact that and the story that was helping the report was very important because it was helping to transmit the translation to the people. Then the branding that we've set up for this think tank, the Insights think tank, and even the black and white thing, it really helped us to get people refer to something concrete. After few weeks, people in the bank were able to say, okay, this relates to the insights opportunities, or hey guys, can you just send me this report, this or that, and is your webinar available somewhere? So it was really helpful to spread the information. And then a very important thing that's not so typical for especially big corporations that are like a little bit like a dinosaur in a way. We are trying to change the culture, but we are still working a lot in silos, and breaking these silos, inviting people like we did with people gathered very informally. There was no official structure, or we didn't form even a project. We just agreed with the people from other departments to join us. Of course, we agreed with their bosses, but doing this sort of help break the silos and break the walls, sometimes unspoken. But besides the tactical thing, there is also something more to it. And this refers to who we are as service designers and what we do. And people often say that service designers help solve different wicked problems. That is true. But also what I think and what I've learned throughout this process, what our partners, what business, where business puts the value of our work, what they appreciate is the fact that we are helping them understand what's going on in the world, helping them to see beyond what they see close to them. So they see more, but moreover, they can understand. So we are like the translation guys that translate customer needs, customer behaviors into working business solutions. And we help them navigate through a hard time, sometimes through a process from this, very complicated, chaotic beginning throughout the whole process. So translating the world and helping them navigate was what here worked very well. And I think it's very important for us as service designers in terms of the value we bring to business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Now we're gonna read some questions that the audience made for you while you were doing your talk.
Sure.
I'm gonna read them first in Spanish and then in English, okay?
Sure.
Okay. ¿Qué nos puede recomendar para estar mejor preparados ante un riesgo inminente, dado que esta condición de inseguridad parece transformarse en algo permanente? What can you recommend to us to be better prepared in the face of an imminent risk, given that its condition of insecurity seems to become permanent?
If I understand the question right about the risks, whatever the risk there is, I think that one of the tools, or one of the ways we as service designers, design thinkers, we apply is that before we try to fix something, we really delve and put effort to really understand the problem right. And to understand it, you have to dig deeper and sometimes ask many questions, why things are happening. So one thing I would say, it's about understanding really the problem. And the second, in terms of mitigating different risks, is that I would say you may need to reach beyond, beyond what you see, and to search for the information that you have, the data, some things that are out of your immediate, how to say, outside of what you see in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it answers the,
yeah, I think you did.
the question.
Now the second question. ¿Qué tan rápido reacciona una organización tan grande como Santander a una emergencia? ¿Y qué es lo más importante para acelerar las reacciones de una organización grande?
Mm-hmm.
Now in English. How fast an organization as big as Santander Poland react to the emergency? And what is the most important things to accelerate the reactions into a big organization?
Well, in terms of the pandemic, somewhere in March, what we, as the organization, as a big band, what we've done, we have the procedures to act in such situations. So, in terms of the formal thing, you basically set up the body that's managing the new situation. So we had a governing or a steering body that was taking care of the emergency. That's in terms of the formal things. But honestly, there was still the question how fast? Well, immediately. And of course, there's a huge chunk of the processes and critical operations that have to be taken care of. And there are much better experts to explain this. But basically, what we really had to do is, first of all, to secure the safety of our employees, both in headquarters, but moreover in the branches. Remember, we had 6,000 people working we have 6,000 people working in branches. So they had direct, they could have direct contact with COVID, with customers coming ill. So we had to secure their feeling safety. We had introduced many procedures in the branches, and it had to happen within few days time from the lockdown was, or even before the lockdown. But that's really from the formal perspective. And from my perspective, what I would say in this situation, the the, the critical situation and the meaning of remote work imposes a very strong perspective. When people start working from home, besides the fact that you have to give them tools and it's obvious, what we are lacking is the live presence of different people hearing what's going on. So the communication is key, and the open communication, being in touch with the team. I have the team of 6 designers now, but early in the year it was 3. But we are in the bigger department, so assuring communication and putting a lot of effort in communication, in frequent communicating with people is a must.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Joanna, for being here today with us. Thank you for your talk. It was
Thank you.
amazing. And we hope you have a great day and to see you soon.
Sure. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of the conference. Gracias. Ciao. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.